Thank you, Mr. Miller. I want to talk a little about, or ask you a little about, the recommendation to redesign the Medicare fee-for-service benefit. For seniors, the current benefit design is very confusing. It really is essentially two different insurance products, one for the hospital nursing facility care, another one for physician services and other outpatients. Everyone has its own deductible, cost-sharing requirements. Adding in a Part D medicine benefit and often a supplemental plan, it's tremendously confusing. So I'm pleased the Commissioner wants to address these problems. Can you explain the benefits to seniors of a redesign? And my thinking is, the current system works fine as long as you never go to the hospital, but seniors are going to go to the hospital and many times in their lifetime. And so having a redesign that provides, one clear deductible that creates a co-payment rather than co-insurance, so there's more, I think, limits to those, and then an out-of-pocket cost where in those years where you are ill and in the hospital, you're not going to go lose your life savings as a result of it. Can you talk a little about sort of the context we ought to be viewing this? And we all want to make sure that we're protecting low-income seniors as well.
Okay, so I think if you want to talk about it from the beneficiary's point of view, and I think that was a motivation for a lot of the Commission's work here, the first thing is that the benefit as it's designed doesn't include a catastrophic cap. And the market has changed significantly on that point over time. The managed care plans all provide catastrophic caps, for example. And so the first benefit to the beneficiary is to have a catastrophic cap where their out-of-pocket would stop at some point. We've modeled different options, but let's just say $5,000. So that's the first thing. The second thing is line of sight on their out-of-pocket costs. So right now you have a couple different deductibles, as you've said, and you also have percentage-based co-payments. I'm going to pay 20% of something. And so the Commission would rationalize those deductibles and move from co-insurance percentages to a co-payment amount for a service. And the hope here is that the beneficiary has clearer line of sight on what their out-of-pocket will be, and then that coupled with catastrophic brings me to the third point, and make the need for the supplemental insurance significantly less because they have greater protections and greater certainty about what they're going to be paying out of pocket. And so the need for supplemental insurance, if that becomes much less, you've just relieved the beneficiary of the premium that they pay for the supplemental insurance. And then a final point, in which you've also referred to, is if you have protections up to, say, 150% of poverty for low income, then you're helping beneficiaries with any of their premium costs.
Two things. To that point, should we be looking at the Medicare Savings Plan program in the context of this redesign? And secondly, are there benefits to continuation of care by redesigning the Medicare benefit?
Yes, we are talking about the 150% in the context of the broader benefit design. I'm not sure if I followed the continuation of care.
In the redesign is by this providing clarity and line of sight. In looking at your recommendations, there seems to be a suggestion that this also helps seniors as they experience a continuation of care from leading in the hospital and out.
Right. I now follow your point. I'm sorry I missed it. Yeah, and we did some analysis for this committee very directly on this question and gave it to you a while back. But for example, there are numbers like 9% of beneficiaries have a hospitalization in a single year, but over multiple years, say 4 years, you can get up into 40 and 50% of beneficiaries having a hospitalization. And so the benefit, the insurance value benefit, if you will, to a redesigned benefit is that it also provides protection over a longer run.
Can I switch to a minute about MEDPAC's discussion of measuring quality by focusing on the entire patient population as opposed to assessing each individual provider? Being able to compare quality in an area between fee-for-service, Medicare Advantage, and other options, I think, is a very important thing. I understand the Commission's reluctance to adjust provider fee-for-service payments in the area because it makes them accountable for things outside their control. My question is in the context of how Medicare pays physicians. Considering that the current sustainable growth formula adjusts payments based on the collective actions of physicians nationwide, wouldn't adjusting payments to physicians in a relatively small area signify an improvement?
I think this is something of a trade-off in the sense that at the national level, it seems very clear that you have sort of a tragedy of the commons type of situation. So I might, if volume increases as a physician, I might be concerned about a fee reduction. But if that fee reduction is shared across the entire country, then I might benefit in the short run by increasing volume and then have the fee reduction shared by all physicians. It is arguable that doing that on a smaller basis would do two things: make the physician more aware of the pool of physicians that they're actually at risk with, and perhaps give them more of a jump start to moving into more organized systems. Say, as long as I'm being judged with other physicians, maybe I want to pick those physicians and go to an accountable care organization. However, it's really important for me to say this. The Commission was concerned that in that circumstance, in a fee-for-service environment, there is no unified entity, so they were concerned about judging providers on that basis because of that.
Nope,
but that's kind of your trade-off.
Nope, I appreciate it. Final point, not a question, but appreciate the Commission's work on trying to create an apples-to-apples comparison across all three of the payment models: spending benchmark, quality measurement, risk adjustment, regulatory oversight. I think for us to continue to improve the Medicare system, it's really critical we have an apples-to-apples comparison. So thanks for the work you're doing there.
Thank you.